Hi there, I'm Eitan, and welcome to Wix Wiz. If you're here now, then I'm guessing you've decided that this year is the year that you are going to create the website for your business or hobby or personal portfolio, or you're already online and you want to upgrade your website or explore a different platform for creating and hosting your website. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can do that using Wix, and you'll be able to build a completely functional online website that will be initially free on Wix, and you're going to do it all by yourself, and it should take a matter of minutes. So let's get started. Okay, so you can see here that I am on the Wix website. So you can just go to wix.com, and I'm going to assume that you don't have an account. And the first thing you're going to want to do is just click here, Get Started. After you click Get Started, that will take you to a sign up or login page, and you will need to create your account from which you will manage your website. Remember, this is where you're going to be managing your business or portfolio, so I recommend you use an email that you check quite often because you're going to be getting important updates there regarding your business. After you've signed up for Wix, you will be taken to the website builder. And this is supposed to walk you through your business idea, your website idea, and use that information in order to kind of give you a pre-made template for your website. So if you click here, just get started. Again, I'm assuming that you don't have much prior knowledge in building websites, and this might even be the first website that you're building. And so Wix will ask you what kind of website you're creating. And you can specify here what kind of website you're creating. If you don't want to go through this whole walkthrough and you just want to jump in and get your hands dirty in the editor, you can go ahead here to the bottom right and just skip through this. But let's assume that I am building a blog website. So I'll just select here blog, or I can write here what kind of website I am making. So I'm just going to click blog, and you can write here whatever kind of business or idea you have for your website. And basically what Wix is going to do, it's just going to use that information to give you the optimal template to work off. What would I want to call my website? So I'm just going to call it my blog. Next. And what are my goals for the website? So basically what Wix is trying to do here is to determine which business solutions to add to your website. So Wix has a editor which you can use to build a static website, quote unquote, which basically means a website that just displays information. Maybe it will have some kind of, subscription form or something like that, but really it's just an informational website, as opposed to a web app, which can have different business solutions like a member area or an e-commerce site, or bookings and stuff like that. And that's what Wix is really trying to figure out here, so that it gives you the optimal website for your business. I am just going to say just explore because that's actually what we're doing here. I don't have a specific goal for this site. So I'm just going to click here, next. And don't worry if you don't select the right things at this point, because once you start editing your website, you have the option to add any of these things onto your website as you develop it. So here, Wix is going to create my website with the blog app already built in. If I hadn't selected blog, then it might not have included the blog app to begin with, and I would have needed to add that later on, something which I'll show you how to do. And here you see a lot of those other apps that I mentioned, such as e-commerce, online store, bookings, events, and you can really select the things that you know in advance that you want to be included in your website. If you're not sure, you can just go through and start building your website and add them on later. So I'm just going to move through here through blog. And now we're going to head over to our dashboard. And the dashboard is where you control the back end of your website. So from there, you can manage different business aspects of your site, and see things like analytics, how many people are visiting your site, connect your site to Google, and much, much more. In the beginning, once you just start building your website, your dashboard will be quite simple because you still haven't added a lot of functionality to your website. But as your website expands and grows and you add more of those business solutions that I mentioned, then you will have a much more complex dashboard. So now my dashboard is loading up, and in one moment we'll be able to see here on the left, we have kind of just like a menu, which will have different options with which we can navigate through our dashboard. And we'll also have the option to head in and actually start editing our site. So now our dashboard has loaded up, and I'm just going to point out a few key things before we actually head into our site and start editing. So here you can see some important information about your site. You can see that we're on the free plan. And that basically means that you will have some Wix advertising on your site, and you will not have your own domain. You'll have a domain that belongs to Wix, which is something that you can see here as well. And we don't have business email, which is not really a necessity for your website. This is just kind of something that Wix is trying to get you to buy, but you definitely do not need this for your website, even if you want your own domain. Only if you decide that your business needs an email, then you can have that. And here, as I said on the left, there's lots of different things regarding managing the back end of your website. For example, in my case, where I decided on having a blog site, then I would go over here, for example, to see different posts and edit them and create them. Here I can see contacts, so people who fill out different forms on my website and who I might want to send them some kind of informational emails or promotional emails later on. So that is pretty much what you have here in the dashboard. There's a lot going on here. I do encourage you to explore, but it's a little much for just an introductory video. What I really want to show you now is how to actually make changes to your site and publish your site so that it's live on the internet. So in order to edit your site, you're going to go over here to Design Site. And now Wix is going to give you two options in terms of how to set up your site. And here we can see the two options, which is one, let Wix create a site for you, and the second is customize a design template. So if you choose the one here on the left, Wix will just ask you a few more questions about your business, give you a few themes that you can choose from, and then create the site based on that. And here, the one that we're going to choose is customize a design template, where you get to choose from a bunch of pre-made templates that Wix has. And you can see here, because Wix knows that I'm trying to build a blog website, so it's showing me a bunch of different blog templates. If you do not want to use a blog, then you can go over, if you do not want to use a template, then you can go over here and click blank templates. And this will give you the option to start either from scratch or with a minimal layout. So this will give you really just a white canvas. I don't recommend this if this is your first ever time building a website. If you've used other no-code solutions or drag and drop editors before and you're feeling kind of adventurous, then start from scratch might be good for you. But if this is really just your first time, even just experiment with a template first, and then you can always create more sites. There's really no limit to how many sites you can create, free sites that you can create using Wix to experiment and try out different parts of their service. So I'm actually going to go back to all, And let me just choose a template here that looks kind of cool. So here, tech company template. Obviously, this doesn't really fit with blog. If I wanted one for a blog, I can go over here and select, I don't know, let's say personal blog. Let's say I like this train of thought one. So then I just click here, edit, and this will basically take this template and turn it into the template for your website. And now we are entering what's called the Wix website editor. And this is where you can make changes, visual changes to your website and publish it so that it's actually online. As this loads, I will take a moment to say, first of all, if you've gotten this far, then you must be pretty interested in Wix, and I definitely recommend hitting that subscribe button so that you can get weekly content which will help you enhance your Wix website and really take it to the next level. Once you've done that, you can also give this video a like. And I do want to say a word about Editor X, which is something that you might have also heard of if you're exploring the Wix ecosystem. And Editor X is a new solution by Wix, which is meant to give more flexible and modern design options for your website. It's very focused on something called responsive design, but it is a much more challenging platform to work with. And I don't recommend it if it's kind of your first step into building websites, even using no code solution. If you don't have a background in design, if you're not familiar with, CSS, HTML, and stuff like that, you might have a harder time understanding Editor X and how it works. But if you've been building websites, let's say, or designing websites using Figma or something like that, and you want to just take a leap and actually build websites, then maybe Editor X might be a good solution for you. But what we have loading here right now is the Wix Classic Editor. Okay, so our editor has loaded, and now I want to point out some key things in the editor for kind of touching up your website and making it look exactly like you want. Okay, so if you see here right in the middle, this is the canvas. This is where we edit what our website will look like. And you can see that by default, the canvas has 3 sections. So one is the header, and then we have here the body, or the main page, which is made up of different sections. And on the bottom here, we have a footer. Okay, and this is quite common in any website where we have a header and a footer. And you can see here that these have kind of an orange outline, and that's to signify that these will be displayed on all pages. So on all of the pages, the header and the footer will look the same, but the body here is what we can change. And you can make changes also to the header and the footer, but they will be the same for every page, whereas the changes that you make here will only be for this home page. And here you can go to this drop down and see that your website is made up of several pages, and you can view that also over here from pages and menu. Okay, this is your site menu, and you see that this template gave us a home page, an about page, a blog page, and you can click here in order to add new pages to your website. So I'm going to add, let's say, a blank page. And then Wix will add this to my menu, and I can just call this my new page and click done. Once you're adding a new page to the website, I do recommend going in here to the SEO Basics and seeing that the URL is the URL that you want. Because sometimes when you create a new page, it'll just call the page, let's say, blank one. Okay, and you always want your URLs to be significant, okay, to have a real meaning. So something like my new page, just something that is actually related to the content of the page itself. So that's just a small tip when you're adding new pages. And in order to delete a page, you can just go over here and click delete. If you don't want this page to show in your menu, you can also hide it. Okay, so let me show you what that means. So if we go over here, you can see here that we have our menu. And this is something that you can also edit and change, but by default, it will display all of the pages on your website. And you can see here, there is a page called My New Page because I just added it. But let's say I want this page to exist on my site, but I don't want to display it here in the menu. I can go to Pages and Menu and just hide that page. And now you can see that it's no longer being displayed in my menu. Okay, so that's a little bit about adding pages and deleting pages, hiding pages. I'm going to go back to the home page. And now I want to show you how to make some basic edits to your website. Okay, so Wix here gave us a template, but let's say I don't want this huge train of thought thing on top because that's not the name of my blog. The name of my blog is My Blog. Okay, so this is a very important part, which is editing text. And you can edit text by clicking on a text box and then clicking Edit Text. And now you see when it's highlighted in blue, I can make different edits to the text, also in terms of content and also in terms of how it looks. Okay, so I can go and, for example, I can change the color to a nice blue. I can change the font size, and these are things that you should be familiar with if you've done any kind of text editing, even on something like a Word document. These are pretty intuitive, I feel. Some things here on the bottom might be a little less intuitive, but I do invite you to explore. One thing that I will point out if you are new to creating websites is this theme here, heading 1. So in HTML, which is a language which is used to build the basic templates of websites, then there are different tags for different kinds of text. And you can see here heading 1 to 6 and then paragraph 1 to 3. And these are actually quite important for search engines such as Google. So if you want your website to be able to be easily found by search engines, then it's important to use these headings correctly. They can also help you kind of control the design of your page and make sure that the hierarchy on your page is clear. So you'll always only want one heading 1 on your page, and then you can have as many heading 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as you want. But it is important to use headings for headings and paragraphs for paragraphs, and this is really where you can change what the theme of a specific text box is. You can also go over here to your site design, and here you can kind of make general changes to your site theme. So for example, here we have color and text theme, and if I go in here to customize it, then I can change the colors of my site, or I can change the text. Okay, so those headings and paragraphs that I talked about, I can go ahead here and change the default. So for example, if I go here into heading 1 and I change the font to Poppin Semi Gold and I click apply, then it will change the font of all of my heading 1s on the site. So this is kind of a general place where you can control certain stylistic elements of your text on your website. If I scroll down a little bit, then we will see lots of different sections. Okay, so this section is a section that's related to the blog app, and these sections are just different sections that Wix had built out. But let's say I want to add another section here and kind of tell a little bit about myself on the homepage before my first featured post. So I can go over here to add section, and Wix will give me different options of, section designs. So I can choose either something like this, like welcome, or I can just choose a blank section. It depends, how confident you are in design. Let's say I choose a blank section. So you'll see here a blank white area has been added to my site, and I can adjust the height of it just using this purple up and down arrow. Okay, so let's say I adjust the height, and I want to now add text to this section that will be displayed on my website. So in order to add elements, and elements can be anything, it can be text, it can be video, it can be images. In order to add any kind of element, you'll go here to the plus sign on the upper left, and then you can select the element that you want to add. So you have text, image, buttons, and in order to add something, you just click, for example, here on text, and I click to add, just drag and drop. So I drag it over to the section and drop it right in there. Excellent. And now I have a paragraph which I can adjust in terms of size and in terms of content. I'm Eitan. Welcome to my blog. Okay. And I want to, let's say, add an image. So I can go over here, click Add Elements, go to Images, and then either select a free Wix image or upload images from my computer. Let's say I select this free Wix image, and I just put it right over here in my section. And this image is a little too big, so I'm going to go ahead and drag it to make it smaller. And then put it under my text. And I'm showing you some very, very basic things because there is really so much that you can do with this tool called Wix, and it would be impossible to cover in one introductory video. So if you want to see more about this stuff, I do suggest subscribing. It also just helps support the channel, which is really nice. And basically, just to recap what we've done until now, so we created our website using a template, and we made some edits to the template itself, and we added our own section with our own custom elements, which we also edited to fit our website. Now, let's say I am quite happy with my site, and I decide that I want to publish. So as of now, my site is not online, so you can make as many edits as you want in the editor, and you can keep on going over here to save. And here you can see the domain that Wix gives you. So this will be kind of like your username.wixsite.com, and then dash my blog or whatever you choose to call this site. And you will be able to navigate this to this domain using, using the internet, using a regular browser. But you can see that you don't completely own the website. And for example, your site won't be listed, let's say, on Google and stuff like that, and you'll have Wix ads on your site. If you want to connect your own customized domain, you're going to have to purchase a plan from Wix, which is a monthly fee, which ranges usually from around, it could be as low as $9 to as high as probably somewhere in the 30s or $40 a month, really depending on what kind of solutions you need for your business. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Continue because I'm satisfied with this domain. And now my website is saving. If I want to check out my website, kind of how it's going to look before I go ahead and publish it, then I can use Preview. So let's say I go up here, click Preview. Basically, now Wix is going to show me what my site will look like. So now you can see that all of the editor kind of toolbars have disappeared. And this is what my live site is going to look like. And I can just see, oh, okay, this looks okay, or no, this looks a little off. And you can notice things that you wouldn't have noticed in the editor itself. As you can see here on the top, there is this upgrade your website to remove Wix ad bar, which will be on your live site if you don't have a premium Wix account, okay? Or you don't purchase a premium plan for this website. The plans need to be purchased per website. So if you purchase a premium plan for this website, that doesn't mean you have unlimited websites. It means you have one website that you can have on the premium plan. So let's say I'm quite satisfied with this look, and then I go ahead and I say, okay, I want to publish my site. I want it to be live on the internet. And now my site is live, so I can go here and say view site. And you can see we're taken to a URL which has my site. And this URL is a URL that you can share with your friends or your colleagues and ask them for feedback about your website. Or if you're not too particular and you really just want to share some kind of content with people and you don't mind this free banner here and you don't mind that you don't have your own domain name, then this can just be your website. And it's fully functional, and you can go into your dashboard and write posts and edit them, and people can read them. And these are just a few mock posts that kind of Wix gives you with pre-written blog posts with the app, which you can delete and write your own. So this is great if you just are interested in creating a personal blog and you're not too particular about being listed on Google or anything like that. And it's 100% free, and you can make as many of these as you want. I'm just going to point out a few more things that might be of interest to you if you are creating a site for a business or even personally. And the first one is what you just saw here in this pop-up, edit your site for mobile. So until now, I've only been showing you how to edit the desktop version of your site. But if I head back to the editor, and you look here on the upper left side, you could already see that there are two modes. One is desktop mode and one is mobile mode. So all of the edits that I made so far have been on the desktop mode. But if I click here on this icon of a phone, then Wix will switch over to the mobile version of my website. And you can see here that it does a pretty good job of arranging things in a decent way for mobile automatically. But every once in a while, I'm going to go ahead and skip the tutorial, but you can run through it if you're designing your site for the first time. But let's say, I decide, okay, so on the mobile version, I want this to look a little different. I want the image to be, let's say, full width. So I can make the image a little bigger and I can move things around. And you are slightly limited in terms of what you can do on the mobile site. For example, with text, you might not be able to make all the edits that you can make on desktop. So you can see here the choices are, there are a lot fewer choices here in terms of editing. And in general, the changes that you make on desktop will affect how your mobile site works and not vice versa. You can make certain changes only to mobile. For example, I can delete something from only mobile. So I just deleted something from my mobile site, but this will still be showing on my desktop site. And I can also add some elements only to mobile. So for example, I can add a button. And let me just add the button to my mobile site. Okay, some people won't see this. So this is just Wix telling you that you want to keep things within the grid line. So obviously what you see here on the canvas is what will be seen by a user. So we don't want our button kind of half hanging out of the grid lines. I'm going to drag it here into the middle. And now if I go back to my desktop site, you will see that my image is still here and the button is not here, because those were edits that I made specifically to the mobile site. So as a rule of thumb, changes you make to desktop will affect mobile, but changes you make on mobile won't affect desktop. So that's a little bit about mobile editing, and you always want to make sure that your mobile site looks good, because more than 50% of the people use their mobile phone to view your site as opposed to a desktop. So that's pretty critical. One last thing that I want to show you, and again, there's a lot more going on here in terms of Wix and what can be done on Wix. I just wanted to give a general overview and help you get your website online within an hour. And I think if you follow this tutorial, you definitely can do that. One last thing that might be of interest is the apps market. And this is something that I mentioned earlier, which is different Wix business solutions that you can add to your site. So even if you didn't add them at the point where you were creating the site, you can add them later on. And for example, if I want to add a member area, so I could search for the Wix members app, and this will let people, sign up for my site, log into my site, and just create general membership. And most of these Wix apps are free, with the exception of apps that accept payments. So for example, if I'm going to look for the Wix Stores app, then I can add this app to my website and I can try it out and I can add products, but people will not be able to make payments using Wix Stores unless I have a premium plan. And you could just click here, add to site, and it will add a store to your website, which is managed through the dashboard and displayed on your site. That's pretty much all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this helped take you one step closer to getting your project, your business online this year. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I hope to see you next time with lots more content about Wix and how to make your website even better and take it to the next level. So I'll see you next time.